Thank you so much for sitting down with me today, Miles. I have always been intrigued by how people use fashion to express who they are, and I know your approach is especially cinematic and intentional. To start off, I'd love to hear how would you describe your personal style? Has it changed alongside your growth as an animation artist?
I would say my style is layered, introspective, and a little bit cinematic. When I start as Cat, I just much more casually. But as I got deeper into character animation, I started paying attention to skeletons, mood, and gesture. And then start showing out in how I just do. Now my outfits are part of how I explore visual storytelling of the screen.
In your opinion, how does clothing help you narrate yourself in everyday life?
It's like customizing a character. It's bad the character is me. Some days I feel quiet, so I will wear monochrome layers. Some days I want sculpture like a Steve Collar or Child Jack to help me feel grounded. I don't think I just to impress. I just to elevate who I becoming that day.
Do you draw inspiration from any specific culture, artist, or subculture?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been very influenced by Japanese minimalism. Designers like Yuji, especially in his use of front and shadow. Visually, I'm drawn to cyberpunk and dystopian anime too, like the kind of style you see in Ghost in the Shell. I think there is something powerful about restrained, almost quiet aesthetic that still feel full of story.
Has your animation background changed the way you understand the structure, color, or motion in clothing?
Yes, when I animated, I'm constantly thinking about how fabric reacts to movement and emotion. Now, when I put together an outfit, I'm thinking, how does the coat fall when I sit down? What does the fabric do in the wind? It's not just what looks good, it's what feels like a friend emotion.
Have you ever created a character whose style reflects your own?
There's a character in my physics project I did last year. The character is introvert, quiet, and wear a long coat and boots. When I think about it, it's very much me in disguise. I think I just the way I draw subtle contrast, not too polished but intentionally.
If you could design an entry wordable for an animated character, what would be the core concept?
I would love to design for a character who stands between worlds, like a dream walker or a time traveler. The clothes will evolve as the character moves through the different emotional states. The concept will be transformation in stillness, like clothing that change mood, not just appearance.
As someone who does fashion photography too, how do you handle the relationship between style and emotion in your shoots?
I approach it like storyboarding. Every shot has a mood arc, and the clothes play a role in that. When I photograph myself or others, I look for small gestures like how the fabric fold, how the light hit the fabric. I want each shot to feel like a friend.
Do you prefer digital or film photography? How do they each affect the style you capture?
Of course, film is slower, but it makes me more intentional. I like the texture in the film. It makes the image feel light in like the memory. digital, digital camera is cleaner, but the film camera give me atmosphere. Yeah.
How has your cultural background or upbringing shaped your aesthetic choice?
I was born and raised in China, so traditional Chinese visual culture is something I absorbed. But I also grew out on the global internet aesthetic. Yes, for example, some Japanese fashion, anime, and something fashion on Instagram. That blend of local grounding and global expression give me a taste for contents.
How do you shop for clothes? Do you alter or uncycle your pieces? What's your take on less is more?
I thrift most of my clothes always like vintage or some old clothes, old fashioned clothes. I like to autumn piece, especially jackets, adding some hardware just the fit. I definitely believe in underconsumption. A small, more and more meaningful clothes feels more expensive to me than having endless options.
In your review, how has Gen Z's idea of style evolved compared to the past generations? Is it still trendy driven?
I think style is more fragmented in a good way. People choose based on identity and mood, not just the trend. Social medias help us access so many different aesthetics, but it also pushes us to find our own way. It's less about fitting in, more about showing up more naturally.
Last question. Do you think style is mostly visual or is it a way of life?
For me, style is a form of quiet resistance. It is choose to create when the world wants you to consume. So yes, it's visual, but it's also emotional, ethical, and deeply personal. It's how I move through the world.